Welcome to my second lecture on the Queen's Indian defense. The Queen's Indian defense starts off by d4, knight f6, c4, e6, knight f3, b6. And I just covered where white plays a3, which is called the Petrosian variation. And now I want to cover where white plays g3, which is known as the classical variation. So when white plays g3, obviously it's intending to put its bishop on g2 and fianchetto the bishop, where will eye this diagonal here, especially these two squares here and here, the e4 and d5 square. Because white knows that black is likewise going to put its bishop here along, where it will look along the long diagonal. So we're going to have sort of opposing bishops, maybe. So now for black, there's two main moves. There's the move here, which is known as the classical variation, the old main line, and then black can play or the bishop to a6, which is the modern main line, or the classical variation modern main line. So let's first look at bishop to a6. It's tending to be more popular now. Basically, black is now attacking this pawn on c4. And white doesn't have a lot of options. If it makes sort of a peace move, it's making some compromises, and the best move for white in this situation is to actually play b3. Even though b3 does weaken the dark squares. And we'll see that by black's next move by playing bishop to b4 check. And how white will respond to this is actually by playing bishop to d2. And the best move for black now is actually just to move the bishop back to e7. And now white will continue playing bishop to g2 for the reasons we explained. It's going to put its bishop on the long diagonal, hoping to control these two squares. And now black will play d5. Once again, one of the goals behind the Queen's Indian defense is to really try to get a hold on this square here, e4, by playing d5. Black right now has a very good hold on the e4 square. And now well, I forgot to mention that if you look at it, we're also playing by d5, is that if white makes some move, well, besides the move I'm going to show you, this pawn here is attacked twice and only defended once. So white has to do something about it. So not only does the move d5 help control this square e4, but it also threatens to win a pawn. And then white will play knight to e5, adding extra support to the c4 pawn, also centralizing the knight. So the knights are very well posted if they're in the center of the board like this. So that knight is extremely valuable now. And now both sides will simply castle. And then black will play c6. I'm lending some support to this pawn here. If it's captured, black will just recapture and still gain control over the e4 square. And now a couple different options for black in this position, or white, I'm sorry. But bishop to c3, sort of a mysterious move. What white is intending is now the bishop is placed along this long diagonal where it's attacking the king. It also got out of the way of this square here, because now white intends to put its knight here, where it will actually support this square, c4, because white knows that black is intending to play knight on b to d7, attacking this knight here. A bunch of different colors. Hopefully that all made sense. So that's the main reasons for that move. Looks a little mysterious. Looks like you're almost putting your bishop behind a block pawn, but that's the reason. It's going to put on the long diagonal and getting out of the way for the knight, etc. And then now black will play excuse me, knight on b to d7, where it attacks the knight on e5. Well, that's the end of the modern main line that I'm going to cover. Let's back up. To this move. Instead of playing the bishop to a6, what happens when black plays it to b7, which is sort of the old main line? Well, now white will just continue once again by putting its bishop on g2. Now the bishops are sort of opposing each other. Black will play bishop to e7, preparing the castle. Then both sides will castle. And now white will play knight to c3, help gaining control over. We're fighting for these central squares, these two squares, especially the e4 square. Black is especially trying to control that square. Now black will play e4. Sort of bringing the knight in. It's going to get exchanged off because white's going to play queen to c2. Now this knight here is attacked twice and only defended once. And black will take the knight. The queen recaptures, so not to disrupt the pawn structure. And if you notice, white has to take some time, capturing that knight. So the queen's made two moves, and we haven't developed some of our pieces. And black still controls now this square, e4, its goal. So what does black play next? Well, whoops. Black plays c5 next, striking at the center, at the d4 pawn. Obviously, if white captures, well, black will just recapture with the bishop. And now white will play rook to d1, because white knows that this d file is going to become open. So it's going to place its rook on the file that's most likely to be open, and probably we're not too sure where to place this bishop yet. Right here, where does it belong? Does it belong on, where does it belong? There. Obviously, it can't go here; just be captured. And here it sort of blocks the e pawn because white wants to play e4, and obviously, here it's just blocking the way where the diagonal is going to, or where the file is going to become open. So the best move is rook to d1, just because we're not too sure where to put this bishop on c1 yet. And then black will play d6, helping to somewhat shore up this pawn here, but mainly the knight is probably going to come to here. So that does it for the classical variation.